Katarzyna Zowada was a pretty blonde student at Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, during the late 1990s. According to her friends, Zowada was a nice, although sad and withdrawn person. She had suffered from depression since the death of her father in 1996. The disappearance and discovery of Katarzyna Zowada's remains. On the 12th of November 1998, a 23-year-old Katarzyna was absent to meet her mother at a psychiatric clinic in Nałachuta, where she had been treated for her depression. She never made it to the appointment. Later that day, Katarzyna's mother attempted to file a missing persons report at the local police station, but was advised to wait. However, Katarzyna did not come back. She went missing without any trace. On the 6th of January 1999, a tugboat named the Elk got something stuck in its propeller while sailing on the Vistula River. The crew stopped to see what the problem was and found a strange rubber band-like material wrapped all the way around the propeller of the boat. When the crew removed the object, they saw a human ear and realized that they had just stumbled upon the skin of another human being. After examination, it was discovered to be human skin. DNA tests indicated that it did indeed belong to one Katarzyna Zowada. Unlike every other discovered body story you'll hear about, the poor sailor who discovered Katarzyna didn't discover her body. He just found her skin. It was initially assumed that the body had been damaged by the propeller, but further testing uncovered the fact that the skinning had happened while Katarzyna was still alive. Katarzyna's head and limbs had been purposefully removed, and the skin had been fashioned into a bodysuit that the killer had most likely worn, much like what Leatherface did in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. The American serial killer and body snatcher Ed Gein also did this disgusting act, but he used to do it with stolen corpses. But the case of Katarzyna Zowada was totally different. To date, it's considered one of the most disturbing murders in Polish history. Somehow, the murder's tale never reached America's newspapers, despite how insanely gory it was. Investigators and experts from other countries were called to assist in solving the crime, including the FBI. In May 1999, the Forensic Medicine Unit in Krakow received a corpse of a man with a severed and scalped head. The killer, Vladimir W., turned out to be the son of the victim. Prior to the arrest, he was seen in a mask made of skin pulled from the head of his own father. Initially, investigators suspected that Vladimir committed Katarzyna's murder. However, no evidence was found to support it. He was later charged with his father's murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison. After a few years, he was transferred to a prison in Russia at his own request. A year later, the investigation was formally dropped because the perpetrator had not been discovered, but police officers involved in the case continued investigating credible leads. Later, investigators concluded that the attacker had used a sharp tool to wound his victim on her neck, armpit, and groin, with the sole purpose to inflict pain upon Katarzyna. In 2014, an FBI representative for Europe created a psychological profile of the suspect, pointing to his sadistic tendencies. In 2016, it was confirmed that Katarzyna was tortured before her death, and that the perpetrator was probably trained in martial arts, specifically one particular undisclosed variation. The arrest of the suspect and trial. Police made the first arrest in October of 2017, 19 years later, after discovering new evidence. A 52-year-old man named Wingate Robert J. was arrested from Krakow's Kazimierz district on suspicion of being a killer who tortured and skinned Katarzyna before using her skin to make a suit. Investigators searched his apartment and found blood in the bathroom. As a result, the bath and frame were secured for further testing. He was already on the radar of police investigation in 1999, but had not been arrested. Robert J. fit the psychological profile as he was trained in martial arts, knew the victim, visited the victim's grave, and had a history of harassing women. He had previously worked in a dissecting lab where he dealt with human corpses. He also worked at the Krakau's Institute of Zoology, where he would observe the process of preparing animal skins. His employment was terminated the day after he killed all of the institute's rabbits during his shift. Robert J. couldn't explain his actions. The police detained him after a letter from the suspect's friend. The contents of said letter are a closely guarded secret of the investigation. Robert J. was charged with aggravated murder with particular cruelty. He maintains that he did not know Katarzyna Zowada, despite having visited her grave on multiple occasions. The Court of Appeal agreed to extend his detention until the 6th of September 2018, while investigators gathered evidence. In December, Robert J. complained of harassment from the prison guards. Claims were investigated and found to be groundless. Robert J. is still awaiting trial and is back in the news after complaining that prison guards had harassed and insulted him in a move that has infuriated officers and prosecutors. After being forced to investigate the claims and finding them groundless, they have now revealed they are going to add lying to police by falsely accusing prison guards to the charges he faces. As of September 2019, Robert J. remains in custody while investigators continue to gather evidence. I have no further updates. If you found this video interesting, make sure to like and subscribe and comment any recommendations of cases you would like us to cover. And of course, rest in peace to Katarzyna Zowada.